There are three things we need to do to clear the hips in the golf swing. And this is something that we see golfers struggle with. That's you. You're going to definitely want to stick around to the end because you're going to see how this unfolds. The first thing is to make sure that our lead hip does not shoot too far out to the golf ball. This may be the most common error we see as far as rotation goes in the backswing.
Yeah, it's common for everybody to try to fix their hip motion at impact, but what they don't realize is how much of an issue it becomes when they swing this lead hip way out towards the ball, which gets them overturning and makes it very difficult, what we're going to explain here in a minute, to get cleared at impact.
Yes, you're going to see a gears image on the screen of just something we see every day. And it's this lead hip shooting out this way, usually 6, 7, 8, and we've even seen as much as 9 inches. And the trail hip either stays put or it starts to wander out there as well. Now, the problem with that is your backswing is 3/4 of your golf swing. So if that hip goes out too far in the backswing, you don't have enough time to get it back to where it started, much less cleared and get it out of the way and make room for the trail hip to get through. So talk about, because you do this well in your golf swing, talk about what you're feeling as you're making this movement. So I'm going to jump over to the computer so we can capture you making that movement.
For me to make this motion in my swing, I have to pay attention to not just the center of the pelvis, because I think that's where everybody kind of thinks about turning just the entire pelvis together. What are each side of my hips doing, right? Right side of my pelvis, left side. So I feel like if I had a club here, kind of in front of my thighs, maybe a fist, I'm playing behind that a little more. So yeah, my lead knee is allowed to bend some, it's not allowed to overbend, and I'm not allowed to swing this thigh and left hip way out. And that's part of it. The other part is this one feels like it goes up and back a little bit. And I'm not doing that by locking my trail leg out either. I'm just, as that turns, I feel this sensor kind of go up and back. And when I do that, I feel very wound up and I feel like I'm playing behind this shaft that I have in front of me.
Okay, well, let's see it.
Okay, let me try one.
Let's try to do it.
Okay, so the other part is you can't stand too far away. You start standing too far away, you're going to move into that space. So you want to be arms hanging under you with an iron about a hand width there. And then I'll just kind of chip one here. See if I can make this happen.
Okay, what did you feel yourself do that there?
Yeah, I felt like I stayed behind that kind of imaginary electric fence so I don't get shocked.
When we get golfers to actually do that, they always tell us they don't feel like they're turning very much because they're used to that wrench pivot of that lead hip swinging forward. It's actually the combination like those old tank games where if you want to turn fast, you pull back on one and push forward on the other.
It's that motion and that motion.
Yes.
Instead of this swinging out like a wrench and this is like the hinge of the door.
A great example of that, tour average, it goes forward the same amount it goes back, okay, with their opposite sides.
Makes sense.
So we'll see what you did on that swing. So as you're seeing on the screen, the thrust number is what you want to look at. So you're going to see right at 2.7 forward, 2.8 back. So you were dead equal.
That's good.
Okay, that's really good. Now, this leads us into the second phase. It's the three things that clear the hip. So first is not letting the hip go too far forward.
Yes.
The second is making sure now that it hasn't gone too far forward, you can get it back in time, which is so predicated on doing number one correctly.
100%. So once I feel that where I'm playing behind this line, the second part of this, I'm doing the tank game in the opposite direction. So I'm straightening this left leg as the right one starts to bend. So this left hip goes up and back. So again, I'm playing behind that imaginary line. So when I do that, the hips, we don't talk about this a lot, but there's a tilt and a turn ratio that you're looking for.
Right.
And this allows you to get in that spot where you have the correct amount of tilt in your pelvis in relation to the amount of turn.
We see a lot of golfers show the hip hike where we'll actually get more tilt right off the bat. And some of them, it's by trying to get the left shoulder down. Some of them is trying to get the whole left side down and just ruins all of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's that thought of, let me immediately tilt my hips as you start back. That kind of gets you in a poor spot right away as you start the backswing.
Right. So what we're looking to do then is not let the lead hip go so far out that we can't clear it. Then we're looking to get it back out of the way so we can clear it. So how soon you can get back to where you started is the key for this. And explain what we mean by that, because we've got to have a landmark, so to speak, timing-wise to get to.
So this is a pretty good one, right? This fist width out in front of my quads here. So just shy of that one as it moves out.
Okay.
I'm trying to, by the time my hands, they're going to be above my waist still, I want to be about back where I started.
Okay. Now, tour players are going to do this when the arm is parallel to the ground. That's pretty early.
So you got a window there.
Yep. So kind of half downswing, lead arm parallel to half downswing. So we call it checkpoint 5 to 5.5 basically. Okay, so we're going to look at you on that last swing, and you are basically just a tick below lead arm parallel when you are back to where you started with the lead hip depth.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I've hit on gears enough. This is one of the things I've worked on. And if you don't, if you don't have feedback like this, you can just kind of go slow and kind of put the brakes on and see where you end up. You don't always have to have gears. It's always great to have it. We got some feedback in the Swing Coach app that can help you with it as well. But just knowing where you're supposed to be at these different stages goes a long way to making a better golf swing.
Right. And then the third element of this is letting that continue to be pulled back as the lead hip goes forward. So now, we drove the tank in the backswing this way. Like you said, we're driving the tank. We're rotating it the other direction now.
Yeah, and as you do, a key element here is you make the tank in the other direction. It's a turning weight shift, basically. So your hips are going to be more forward than they were at address, but it's still that tank feel, but as they go forward, now you can see I get my tilts at impact with my turn, and it puts me in that kind of world-class impact with a little bit of shaft lean so I can compress the ball.
So you would impact there, your lead hip was now minus 3.8 back. Okay, so you've got it out of the way. That gives all the room in the world to get the trail side through without humping forward. And then if we pull back and put the pane of glass so you can see that, you can see you've got the whole left cheek and most of the left hamstring through the glass, which is what so many golfers are trying to do. And this just shows you exactly how to accomplish that. It takes place, cannot emphasize it enough, on how this hip moves in the backswing. Sets up the whole domino.
Backswing teaches more than anything in the end, just because it's so much easier to make a good downswing when you put yourself in a good spot. So work on this part first, and I think you'll find when you move the pelvis like this, it's very difficult to overturn, which we see a lot of over hip spinners, right? It's a pelvis spin as opposed to loading the hips correctly. And when you load them like we're teaching you here, you're able to not overturn them, which allows you to clear them easier.
A good way to work on this, I'm going to set up my camera on my phone, and we are going to, and you can do this at home too, I'm going to put it on the target side.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me screen record so everyone can see what's happening, is I'm going to set it up for video, and I'm going to put this right on your butt line. So set up to it for me.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to get it kind of right on his heel line to his butt line. So this should be well out of the way of you hitting this ball. And I'm going to hit record. And we're going to mark, we're going to put a line right on your left side of your butt. You're going to take it up, back, and we're going to see how soon you can get back on that mark. Again, we're shooting for mid downswing or sooner. Okay, so let me pop out of the way.
It's ready to go?
Yep. Okay, did you do it?
I think so.
All right.
We're going to find out.
There you go. So this gives you an idea when you go back and watch your video to know if you're doing it, first of all, by not letting that hip go too far forward. And then if you're recovering from it in time, to get that hip out of the way. Film yourself, film yourself, film yourself. This is one of those things, especially, this is one of those things where you just can't rely on an intent or a feel to know you're doing it. You've got to have the feedback. Objective feedback is always better. Again, if you're on a crowded range, don't throw your camera too far out. Try to get off to the side where you're not going to hurt the camera or someone else. But this is a great way to do it. And you can do this by just hitting socks or foam balls in the house. It's a great way to double check that you're doing this correctly.